One of our core behaviors at Western Union is responsibility, and we challenged each participant to be responsible for their own learning, going back to that whole package of plan, develop, grow, and succeed. We were then giving our employees the tools and resources to take ownership for their own learning and development. But in so doing, they had a responsibility, and the responsibility was that they would take from each of the modules and write down what they learned from the modules, how they planned to implement or what action they might take from one or two key concepts, and then share it with a learning partner, a manager, or in this social media component that we had as well. And then we asked them to self-report and continue to share the experience. And then we invited them to have testimonies and share their success with us, which really drew some great energy. But we found such success using social media with our products and services as a company that we wanted our employees to have the same thing. The other thing that we knew is that in order for learning to stick, there has to be some sort of teach back application or partnership. And the only way that we knew to do that was to use the social media component. But in order, we found what was needed was trust. And so we had to ask them to take, again, a leap of faith in us that they would be part of this community within the social media hub where only participants in the program had availability, and everybody in the hub had the same information. And we invited them to upload their profiles and give permission for us to use them. We then asked them to tag their profiles, and then we put blogs and invited them, if they were working on projects, to go out and use the hub in pulling together WE teams around the globe. It was hard at first, and I think that one of the lessons learned from that is really, I guess I would have introduced the hub or the social media learning more in the middle of the program rather than earlier, because they needed to understand, the participants needed to understand that there is safety in sharing, and we had to continue to reinforce that in order for you to network and to work collaboratively and virtually, you have to put yourself out there. We've learned that the hub community is something that they actually seek out because they see the power in it, and we've been able to leverage it in other things where we have subcommittees or sub-communities within this hub community if they're working in a project, or if they want to have a mentor-mentee relationship, they've been able to use the social media. And so I think initially it was fear of exposure, of people seeing it, but once they realized it was really a tool to help them, to help themselves, we were able to overcome. When I would train on the hub and give them the insight about using the tool and how to use it, I always spoke about it in emergenetics terms. So I would say something, for example, I know a first, third flexible may be hesitant to share in the hub community, but find one or two people with whom you feel connected and start that journey on a smaller scale. So I always tied it back to the skills and competencies and concepts they were learning in the program itself. We have a huge accountability in learning and development to be accountable for results. It's one of the hardest things to measure, and it's one of the easiest things to make some assumptions about. And what I knew going into this program is I had asked Emergenetics and Complete Intelligence to take a big risk with us, and you took a risk on Western Union, and so we had to have a return on investment. And we used a pretty robust participant feedback experience, and we got feedback from the managers. So what we were able to do is each element throughout the employee development program, at each one of those three components, interpersonal skills, team optimization, and providing shared value, we had measures around the content, around the facilitator, around the logistics, around how they were applying, things they would change, things they would keep, and we've calibrated based on some of that. And then we asked their leaders to share where they've seen some changes in behavior and competencies. And what we have found is, and this is probably one of the metrics that really resonates with me the most, is that 99% of the participants would recommend this program to their peers or leaders around the globe. And on an average, if we look out of a Likert scale of 1 to 5, where 5 is the highest and 1 is the lowest, the program is averaging now about 4.34 out of 5 on all those elements.